Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. We are the Montgomery Brothers. I'm Jim.
I'm Kyle.
And welcome to week 4. Eagles traveling down to Tampa Bay. But before we get into that, tale of two halves, tale of two games. I don't even know, like, the theme for the Chiefs was winning ugly. First half definitely was ugly, but the second half was a thing of beauty. What do we want to call this one?
Dude, that first half was, I mean, they've already said it, but, looking at it as a fan, it was the worst half of football I think we've seen since, I don't know, man. It's been a long time since we've seen it that bad. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of those, probably like mid 90s, like the 93 teams, 94, where it was blacked out and we had to listen to it with
The
just on,
Coatite days.
yeah, and just listen to Merrill who was it at the time? It was Stan Walters.
Stan
It was
Walters.
Merrill Reese and Stan Walters, and listen to like Merrill Reese just say how bad they were. And dude, the funniest thing was Merrill Reese at halftime. They were like, "The Eagles will receive the second half kickoff," and he goes, "I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing." So it reminded me of like years ago when they were playing Tennessee, and he said it's fourth in Nashville, like just the certain one-liners that he would say. But that's how that first half was, man. It was ugly. It was brutal.
It was, and I guess the thing, like the fact that they booed them so loud, like, and I think that, and I don't know if it was a wake up call for them or what, but like it was, the entire stadium was booing when they went into halftime. And I haven't heard that since probably like the tail end of that 23 collapse.
Yeah, yeah. And look, I mean, that's one thing that everybody gets on us as Philadelphia fans for is that we, we're hard on our teams and we boo a lot. Well, they deserved it. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
played like crap and they deserved it. And they were the first ones to tell you like they would have deserved it because they didn't play well at all. So, but like you said, it was a tale of two halves. And I don't know what they did at halftime. I don't know. I imagined somebody in there throwing a chair like the old Bobby Knight commercial or like, those type of things, throwing a chair against a locker, something. Somebody obviously had to say something, you know what I mean, to motivate them and get them back on track. And it could have been Jalen. It could have. It could have been somebody else too, but I don't know. I don't know who that leader was, but somebody obviously stepped up because they played a completely different game in that second half.
They did. So let's get into that. So do you think, like, there's a lot of speculation, and you heard what Jalen said to Pam Oliver, I'm sure, after the game,
Mm-hmm.
when we're just playing not to lose. And was that a direct shot at Petula and Sirianni? Was he kind of calling out himself and the rest of the team? But like, I kind of envisioned Jalen saying, no, I'm not going to put, like, you're not putting this one on me. I'm going to take over. But they said the play calls were the same as they were in the first half. They just executed them better.
I call BS on that.
Thank you.
You know, because like we saw it in Dallas, like the Dallas game, we saw it in the Chiefs game. Like the receivers weren't getting separation, and then all of a sudden they got separation. Like that just doesn't
Right.
happen. So like either the players weren't executing like he said, or they schemed up certain things differently. Like I saw AJ Brown run different routes in that second half than he did the first 3 games, like the first 2.5 games, I guess I should say. Right.
Right.
So like they were different routes. That Dallas Goddard over the middle, you and I saw that against Dallas. We said the same thing when they played Kansas City. That play will be there every single game that they play. I don't
I
know why
said
they don't throw to it more.
I said that to John in the stadium. Like, I saw it like, he was like, "Look how much space there is in the middle." I'm like, "It's been there all season. I don't know why they're not." I don't know if they kept him in to block since Lane got knocked out, or but it's it was there. I mean, quick
Yeah,
and then pop pass, the old South Brandywine play.
yeah, that's exactly what it was. I just I don't understand. He's getting 7 yards a clip every single time that they throw that little pass over the middle like that. But you could tell that Jalen was more consistent with his reads in the second half. I will say, right?
Yeah.
So to your point, he took over. He clearly put on that cape, and he did what he does when he needs to. He takes over, right? But his throws, he can make throws. So like anybody that ever criticizes his arm, they don't know what they're watching. They don't know what they're
I
watching because he can make the throws,
no,
and he was
and
clear
then
with that.
right, and I don't know. I always go back to Donovan, and everybody ripped him, and he did. I mean, he could not throw a short pass to save his life, but he had a great deep ball. But Jalen is accurate. He might not be the strongest quarterback out there, but he doesn't need to be.
No, and look, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I think the conservative play calling. So think about what made Vic Fangio's defense so good last year. They kept everything in front of them. What did Jim Johnson always do when Jim Johnson's defenses were dominating? They kept everything in front of them. It was the bend but don't break. Through 3 games this year, defensive playing against the Eagles are bend but don't break. They'll give you those 7 yards over the middle, but they're not giving you a 40-yard pass. They're
Right.
not throwing the you're not throwing the dagger, basically, is what I'm saying, right? So we all know Jalen can throw a good deep ball. They're not making him do that. Now, some of that could be because, you know, they're stacking the box against AJ or against Saquon, and we're allowing them to do it, right? We're not adjusting out of that. In the second half, they did adjust. Now, granted, they were down by 19 and they had to throw the ball,
Yeah.
but again, it's the same thing as we talked about before with the tush push and even Saquon going for his yards. You know what's coming, and you still can't stop it. So everybody in the stadium, everybody watching that game when you're down by 19 knew, all right, they're going to throw the ball. Everybody knew they were throwing, and they still couldn't stop it because we have that dominant of a receiving core that if you actually do give them the ball, good things happen.
Look what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Saquon, is it time to be concerned? Is there um like, he doesn't look like he's, like, worn down from so many carries and so many touches from the year before. Like, is it the line? Is it Saquon? Like, should we be concerned that he hasn't had 100 yards yet?
No, I think here's the thing you got to look at. If you go back and look at all 3 games so far, nobody's letting Saquon go for 2,000 yards this year. Nobody's going to make or let Saquon beat them like they did last year. So they're bringing 7 or 8 in the box. Like it's not just, the 4-3-4 type of thing. It's 7 are up at the line trying to stop him. And that's exactly what's happening. So you heard I heard Jordan Mailata say that they're like a half a block away. They're right there.
I
They're
heard
one
that.
block away from him breaking one. Which if you look at that stuff, he truly is. Like one clip tackle here, one guy grabs his shoelace here, and he's gone, right? So last year, he just happened to do that because nobody had tape on it. So a whole off season of studying, they're putting 7 in the box, which is when you take the top off the defense. So I don't think there's anything to be concerned with yet because, you know, he still has those bursts, right? He still seems like he's explosive. He's still and he's not getting frustrated. He's not getting anything like that. So I think we're okay right now. I just the thing that I don't understand is when they run a tush push, they run it to Mailata and Landon Dickerson side. Why don't you still run Saquon to Mailata and Landon Dickerson side? You constantly run it the other way, and I don't understand. I don't understand it at all. Plus, he has so much success when you run him outside of the tackles because he's so quick and he makes those quick moves like Barry Sanders esque. But yet they still want to run straight in between the tackles with him. You got to switch it up a little bit. So I think the play calling has a little bit to do with that too.
I agree. No, and I don't know. I'm not concerned, but, like, I will say, and I heard somebody say this, and I forget whether it was on Twitter or not, but somebody essentially was like, "Stoutland University, you're down to Stoutland Community College until we can get some good." And I don't know if it's the like being used to not having like a new right guard in there, and it's going to take some time for those guys, which to me makes sense. And then losing Lane definitely did not help things, I think, at all. But he said he's going to be fine and play this week. So
Yeah, he was a full participant in practice today. And I mean, look, I think before we get into the next topic, I mean, shout out to Fred Johnson. I mean,
yeah,
he came in and solidified that side of the line and gave Jalen Hurts time. I mean, I think he proved that he deserves to be that backup role, depending on whether it's right tackle or left tackle, wherever he needs to play. He's next man up,
he did
because
the
he
same
he
thing
helped a
last year.
lot. Yeah, yeah, he's that guy, dude. He's that guy, and I just the guy. I don't even want to say his name, but the guy that they put in before him got cut. But he's been cut like 15 times by the team. Like, and we
Right.
still want to give him a shot just because that's his position. Fred Johnson proved that he can play anywhere on that line, in my opinion.
Yeah. If I don't see MP ever again, I'll be
Yeah,
fine with that.
yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I wish that he would be a prior member of the Eagles at this point. You know what I mean? No pun intended. Actually, full pun intended. I want him off the team. He can't block anything. He looked like Tank Bigsby back there trying to catch a knuckleball. Just
Well,
saying.
get into
Just
that in
saying.
a minute.
Yeah. So while we're talking about Saquon, that leads me into my 2 cents this week. So this is a segment that's near and dear to my heart, my 2 cents. And this week, my 2 cents is regarding Saquon Barkley, right? So Saquon Barkley, we all love him. He was a great guy when he was at Penn State, even though we're not Penn State fans, right? We hated the fact that he went to the Giants. But one thing about Saquon that has been true since his days at Penn State, since his days with the Giants, and now with the Eagles, he's the ultimate team guy. Never about him, it's about the team. So whether he gets 10 yards, whether he gets 210 yards, he's always fully engaged. He's always cheering on his teammates. When Smitty or score that fourth quarter touchdown to tie it and take the lead, the first person to be right in front of his face cheering him on and celebrating that touchdown, Saquon Barkley, right? So that's something that is you can't teach that. That sense of leadership and keeping everybody on the sideline engaged, whether you're down 19 or up 19. Like, you saw the videos of the Super Bowl. Stay right here. Stay right
Right.
here. Game's not over. Stay right here. Keeping everybody on the same page, right? Um, and I will say this about Saquon. I think you're never going to hear about it now. You'll probably hear about this when they do the 30 for 30 on Jalen Hurts 10 years from now. But when Saquon got here, you saw that little clip in the Super Bowl where Jalen said to him, "This is because of you. We were at a certain point. You pushed us over that ledge." I think
Yep.
Saquon has been a great mentor to Jalen Hurts. And I know that's odd to say because they're around the same age. I know Saquon's a little older, but like they're not it's not like a 40-year-old and a 20-year-old, you know what I mean? Like, they're pretty close in age, but I think Saquon has been a great mentor to him.
He just has
Um,
that it factor, like, that I talk all the time about the intangibles. He has the intangibles that you
you
just
can't
want.
teach. Yeah, and you can't teach them, right? It's not like I can tell you like, you can tell somebody till you're blue in the face, "You need to do this." They're just not gonna get it. You have that. You have that, and Saquon has it, right? Few guys have that, but he has that Dawkins, that Kelsey, that Lane Johnson, he and Mailata, like, he has that tenacity, that focus, that he gets it and he brings everybody else up to that level. So my 2 cents this week is dedicated to Saquon. I'm not concerned with his performance so far this year because of his leadership. He's going to get his. Is he going to have the 2,000 yards this year? Obviously not. Nobody has ever repeated after having 2,000 yard season to have another one, but I still think he's going to be one hell of a running back for us this year. Plus, he's on our team. So as long as he stays healthy behind that offensive line, he's going to help us win games. So that's my 2 cents. Don't give up on Saquon. Don't get frustrated. It has nothing to do with him. I just think that defenses are scheming to stop him, and he could have got frustrated through 3 games because he's not getting the production like last year. But he's been a great leader on that sideline, man, and you love to see it. You love it.
I agree. Good take. And I mean, I will say too, he was the first one when asked about the booing, and he was like, "Listen, man, that's part of playing in Philly." He was like, "But did you hear how loud they cheered when we were coming back?" So, I mean,
Yep.
it's refreshing to hear somebody that gets it and not like
Yeah.
the other people that play across the street. We won't mention
Yeah.
their names.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
anything else on the offense?
No, I just think they got to get the offensive line playing how they should be. Because I feel like coming into the season, it's like, oh, we have the best offensive line in the game. Got to be honest. Through 3 games, I don't think we have the best offensive line in the game. I still think that it's the top 5, top 10, but they're not playing like the top one right now. And I know injuries played a part in that, but still, they got too much talent to not be firing on all cylinders.
Agreed. No, I don't know. We'll get more into what we think this next week or this week later, but I do think something big's happening, but
Yep.
we'll get into
Yep.
that later. So the other side of the ball, the defense, offense certainly did not do them any favors. The special teams did not do them any favors. There are a lot of short fields, but I think they held their own. I mean, like you said, the bend but don't break. I, the fact that they were down 26-7, I don't put all of that on the defense at all because of having to. It's like every time you turn around, they were back out there on the field and
Yeah.
held them to some key field goals.
Yeah. I mean, there was 4 straight 3-and-outs. So like, the defense had zero time to rest up, and then the first drive of the second half, you fumble in your own territory at like, pretty much in the red zone. I think it was in the red zone. I think it was inside the
I think it
20.
was.
So you can't blame the defense for that. And look, is it too early to say that Zach Vaughn is probably the best linebacker that we've seen since Seth Joyner?
No, I was going to actually bring that up. I mean, possibly Trotter, but the difference between the two is Zach Bond can make plays, and like those are plays that like that interception was like a Seth Joyner type play. Like you don't see linebackers with hands like that because usually they play tight end.
And he stepped in front of Devontae Adams. So, like, you're not stepping in front of a tight end that's barely
Right.
playing. You're stepping in front of a Hall of Fame wide receiver that has hands that we obviously saw with the push off, but we're not going to get into that. But like Zach Vaughn is that he's that guy, man. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. I'm glad he's a dog. I'm glad he's on our team. And shout out to Vic and Howie for pulling the trigger on that deal and seeing something that nobody else saw in him being a special teams guy and making him the linebacker. And you got him and Jahad Campbell playing some of the best linebacker ball we've seen ever in Philadelphia.
It's amazing what happens when you have players that actually can play the position and you're just not plugging in whoever, wherever.
Yeah, and look at this. I mean, last year we had Bond and Nakobe Dean, who was a great linebacker duo. Nakobe Dean's slated to come back by week 5, possibly. What do you do with Jahad Campbell, especially now with a couple injuries on our slot? Do you line him up at DN? Do you line him up like that? I don't know.
It's a
I don't
thought.
know.
I mean, he can do it, but then are you losing something though? And nothing against Nakobe, but I mean, it's tough right now to take Jihad out of that position.
You can. He's the highest rated rookie defensive player in the league right now. And I don't see
Right.
that changing anytime soon as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, his pass coverage skills are like how we looked at Cooper last year, like, oh my God, like, is this real? Because you knew where you were getting out of Q. You knew Q was going to be that guy, but like, we didn't know how Cooper was going to be in coverage, right? We knew that he could fly around, make some hits, and do stuff like that. But I mean, Jahad Campbell right now is just playing lights out, and that linebacker duo is definitely it's something that we don't talk about ever in Philly because we don't usually have two. If we're
No,
if we're lucky to have one, it's
we
great. But
maybe won.
yeah, but the fact that we have 2, I mean, you think about all the good ones over the years, Seth Joyner and Byron Evans, like, that was a good group, and then you had Willie T, right? Who was with Willie T?
Forgot
You
about
didn't
Willie
really
too.
have anybody else, right? And then you go to Trotter, basically. I mean, you had Carlos Emmons and guys like that mixed in, but, like, clearly Bond is at that top, and I don't think it's too early to say that. I know the sample size isn't as big, but Dude's a
No,
stud, man.
but I mean, I also think too, I heard, like, the offseason, everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know, it's a one-hit wonder, or he was just a system guy," but I think you can kinda put that to bed now. He's not just a one-hit wonder or one-year wonder. I think he's
Yep.
legitimately the real deal.
Yeah, no, and I think that he's gonna continue to shine like that. I really do. I really do.
And before we get into the 2 big guys, I guess we have to touch on this because of the news that came out this week. We'll get to Nolan Smith here in a minute, but Jacorian Bennett on the IR,
Mhm.
Adoree Jackson kind of banged up. It looks like he was gonna at least attempt to play on Sunday. What do they do with cornerback 2?
So, I've heard a lot this week that Keely Ringo was taking first team reps. Um, and look, I mean, Keely Ringo's been on the team. He was highly touted out of Georgia. At what point do you either make a decision on him? Now, I don't know if he's that great of a special teamer. You don't hear his name a lot making tackles on special teams,
No,
so maybe he's just a guy that fills the gaps and stays in his lane, and I don't know. But it's clear that there's a need there, and I thought for sure it was going to be Jacorian Bennett. I thought he was going to step up into that role, and now that he's injured and on IR, Howie got to make some calls, man, because we don't have that guy right now. We don't have that guy
yeah,
to fill that hole. And shout out to Jacorian Bennett because I think he got injured on that last play when he took out the holder, when he
right.
sacrificed his body to pretty much tackle the holder and allowed Jordan Davis to pick up
To
that
pick it
ball.
back up.
He could have tried to pick up that ball, but he said, "I'm going to take out the holder and let the big guy try to scoop and score." Because at that point they'd already blocked it. But when he took him out, he didn't get back up right away. So I think maybe he hurt something when he did
I
that.
think
But
you're
shout
right.
out to him, man. Shout out to him
No,
for
that was
being
that,
unselfish.
but I think that's the kind of guy that, like, buys into whatever Nick Sirianni is selling. Unselfish, was like, "You know what? I could have been the hero, could have everybody would have said my name, but this guy has a better shot at it. Let me take out the holder so he can pick it up." And I mean, you don't see that often in any sport, really.
Yep. No, completely agree, man. Completely agree. But yeah, cornerback two is still we've talked about it all year. It's still a hole that they need to fill. And I have faith in Howie that he's probably already making calls, right? And I don't
He
think
has
this
to be.
is Well, and I don't think this is a free agent, like somebody that's already on the street. I think this is somebody that's on a team that you're going to make a trade for. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I also think not that you ever want guys to go on IR, but if Bennett is a solution for it, I think this is the perfect time with the stretch of games that are coming up that you can kind of withstand that. Same with Nolan Smith, even. Like, I think, like, Tampa's banged up, and we'll get more into that. Um, Denver is they were supposed to be good, but they haven't shown it yet. And then you got the Giants who are starting a rookie. You know what I mean? So that takes
Mhm.
you pretty much to the bye week, and I think they'll be okay. It's again not what you wanted to hear, especially because they're still short with edge rushers too. I mean, at this point, I mean, I think Zadarius Smith is going to have to step up. I think Jalix Hunt is going to have to step up. Um, some of those guys that are on the practice squad now are going to have to step up. And but I trust in Vic to do the right thing and put those guys in a position to be able to step up.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And look, I mean, when you got guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and a Jomo on the inside creating that havoc, it makes your job on the outside a little bit easier, right? Like I'm not saying you and I could play D end and go up against any of these tackles, but when you got these guys blowing up the guards and needing to be double teamed, it makes your job a little bit easier. And I can see Vic dialing up some blitzes, right? So we've
Yeah.
seen him blitz more this year than he did last year ever, right? So the fact that he has that in his back pocket, it's just a matter of dialing it up for the right person, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what happens when you're leaving that cornerback two spot pretty vulnerable when you come with a blitz. So we'll see what
Well, what's
happens there.
Baker's injury? Baker I keep seeing he's limited. Is it an arm?
I think it was his shoulder, and then I heard it was his knee, so I don't know what it is, man, but, like, I think it goes back to that CJ hit on him, where, like, he I think he was holding his leg, and then he got up, like, kinda holding his arm, and then Chauncey said something to him, and, like, Baker, like, snapped out of it and started talking smack right back to him,
Yeah.
like, the injury didn't happen, so, like, he was ready to roll around on the ground and act like he was hurt, and then CJ said something to him, and he got
Get your
right up in
bitch
his
ass
face.
up.
Yeah, that's probably what he said, right? I don't know if you saw some of their Twitter beef back and forth, but he said something to CJ, and CJ said, "Oh, that's cute, but you still don't have a ring." So when CJ got waved, Baker sent him a text and goes, "You good?" Like that. So it seems like, man, that Baker's that dude, man. Like I hate the fact that he's on the Bucks, but Baker's that dude.
He is. So let's everybody's been speculating. I've been arguing with people on Twitter all week. The answer is no.
Absolutely not.
100%. I mean, even if there weren't the character questions or whatever, it's not a fit. Like, unless he figured out, which he hasn't, or else he wouldn't have been cut, to play and cover cornerback too. Like, who are you taking Reed out? Are you taking Makuba out? Like, are you gonna put him on in slot and move DeGene?
CJ,
Like,
listen, CJ showed last year that he gets burned in coverage. So the only thing
right.
he could possibly do is play zone and be a ball hawk. That's the thing. That's why he got waived in Houston because they don't play that. They play man, and he didn't like that because he doesn't play man. He can't play man. So um, he got burned for the most touchdowns in the 2 years that he was with the Eagles.
Yep.
So think about that. From that position, he's getting burned for the most touchdowns. Like, you can't have that guy. Plus, he's a poison with all the shit that he said in the offseason and
Yeah.
like attacking, making comments about the fans. Like, look, I know he's a dog and he has that swagger. I don't think we need him for swagger anymore. I think we got plenty of swagger on this
We
team.
do.
So we
But
don't need
that
him for that edge.
no, and I mean, I just don't know where you'd put him. Like, I would not start him at either of the safety spots. He's not good enough to cover for a nickel corner.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, and people are like, "Oh, you can do this." I'm like, "No," because then Vic is going to have to adjust to do something he doesn't want to do
Right.
for a guy who, truthfully, probably isn't as good covering as Adoree Jackson is. So,
Nope. Nope. And look, we're I think I say we because we're all one big collective, even though I'm not one of these guys that looks at things this way, but I think people get blinded with their heart instead of thinking with their head,
right.
right? So like I know we love the swag of CJ and we loved everything that he brought to that team. That team is gone, right? That's not the same team anymore. We don't need that type of guy with the swagger because if you looked at Jalen on the sidelines, Jalen's talking to the coaches. He's talking to the players. Jalen has it's like that old Steve Young commercial or that video where he got the monkey off his back.
Keep that monkey off
Jalen
my
got
back.
the
Yeah.
Jake got the monkey off his back and he's leading by example now. And like that's that swagger that we need. Like you saw the last video, Jordan Davis blocked that field goal, ran it in. You couldn't tell if we won or lost that game by looking at Jalen Hurts. He had no emotion whatsoever. It was business as usual, except for when Nick Sirianni almost ran him over by running down to the other end of the end
Yeah.
zone. But like that's the only way you knew one way or the other. So as far as bringing CJ back, the answer is absolutely 100% not.
I
Appreciate what you brought to the team last year. Appreciate what you brought in 22, but we don't need you to repeat. And it was good while it lasted, but best of luck in your future endeavors.
I'll see you in 10 to 20 years when they do the
Yeah, when
ceremony
we
when they
honor
bring
this
you
team,
back to
yes.
honor this team.
Yep, yep, that's it. That's it.
All right, so we got to talk about because I've heard a lot of people say non-Eagles fans, but oh, how lucky are you that you're so lucky you blocked two field goals. That never happens. I'm going to disagree with that because they saw something to be able to do that both times. And if you look, both of those field goals attempts, they did Carter and Davis did the exact same thing, and Davis was able to get in there both times. And chalk one up, sure, that's lucky, fluky, whatever you want to say. But to do two the exact same way. They saw something, and you're not going to tell me as much as they couldn't field a kickoff the entire game. Special teams, like they should have worked a little bit on the kickoffs, I think, but the fact that they worked on those field goal blocks, I think paid dividends.
Yeah, I mean, you heard Jordan Davis talk about the kicker's trajectory. So, I heard the same people talk about it. We don't need to name names, Randy. Talking his smack, saying that
That's what I
it's
was
straight
talking about.
luck. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'll call him out. I'll call him out. Um, but yeah, it's clear that they practice this type of stuff. And if you go back and look at any type of video from when those two played at Georgia, I guarantee you they blocked field goals at Georgia the exact same way. These two
Right.
have been playing next to each other for so long, they know. And look, all they had to do, you can't touch the long snapper, so you have to blow that guard up, and you have two of the biggest guys blowing that guard up. You saw he was almost on the ground before that snapper even had the ball.
Yep.
So Jordan Davis is six. What is he? 6'6", six
I
seven?
think we looked
Like,
it up last week. I think he's 6'5". I think
yeah,
he's
dude.
listed at
But
6'6", but
his wingspan is probably like what, 9 feet at
oh
least,
yeah,
when all extended. So like, Cardi was like the most lackadaisical kicker, but he can kick the ball 65 yards. Like his windup is like, he's like, man, I'm just gonna, like, it's almost like video game kicking. Like he just barely taps it and it goes 60 yards. But like, that that was his trajectory, and like Jordan Davis knew that if you get your hands up at the right time, and man, he timed those jumps perfectly. Carter had his hand on the first one, and then it tipped off of Jordan Davis. So like, they're
right,
both in it together, and I know they practice that stuff. So, you know, to your point, one, okay, you can say you got lucky, but when you do it twice on the exact same style of push through, and you get your hands up the right way, you gotta be saying something about that, man. I
right.
guarantee you they practice that.
Yeah. So kudos to special teams. Hopefully this week they're working on fielding kickoffs because I can almost guarantee you Tampa is going to at least try to do the squib or whatever they're calling the. I forget they had a name for it. I forget the name,
It's a
but
knuckleball. So two teams have mastered it this year. It's the Panthers and it's the Rams. They kick a knuckleball. It's like a screwball that it literally like a knuckleball in baseball, where it just kind of, there's no rotation on it. It just kind of floats back and forth, and it makes it almost impossible to catch. And two teams have mastered it. They've tried it, and like, the two teams that have done it so far this year that have done it successfully have been the Panthers and the Rams. Um, so I guarantee you it's a copycat league. We know that more teams are going to try it, but I don't think it's that easy to kick a knuckleball like
no.
with a football. You know what I mean? Like, if it was, more people would do it, but I don't think it's that easy.
Well, let's hope they get the jugs machine out there this week at practice. And
I saw a highlight of that. They actually had them with
oh,
a
did they?
ball in one hand. They had a ball in one hand, and the jug machine was throwing it in the air. And the special teams coach was like waving something in front of them because there's expected to be like thunderstorms down there this week. So like, they were forcing them to catch it one handed because they already had a ball in the other hand. It was, and look,
Good.
I agree with that, but at the same time, can we just practice catching with two hands? Because we struggle doing that. So you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, if you can catch with
like,
one hand, you should be able to catch with two.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully.
If you can dodge a ball or a wrench, you can
You
dodge a
can
ball.
dodge a ball. Yep.
All right, before we get into this week's game, let's take a look at last week's recap. You got me again, just barely. Um,
Mm,
I,
mm.
I, I took the Rams. Obviously, that didn't happen. You took the Eagles. Um, I think we both whiffed on the players of the game.
Yeah.
AJ did have a good game, but certainly third or fourth on the list of players of the game list. You had Makuba. I guess he didn't play terribly. He didn't get burnt, I guess, but
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't get burnt. He did. He made a couple tackles, but nothing earth shattering for sure.
I had Dallas Goedert plays well. I mean, he had one catch, but he made
He
it
played
count.
well in that catch, though. He played well
He
in that
did.
catch.
33 yards, baby.
There you go.
You had a Hurts anytime touchdown, which was good. I had Saquon over 100 yards. Did not happen. We talked about that. A.J. Brown, you said 100 yards and a touchdown. That happened. Finally catch my A.J. Brown anytime touchdown bet.
There you go. There you go.
And then I had Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis to give the Rams fits. I guess I would chalk up two blocked field goals and a walk-off how many every yard. I guess that's a fit. And
Also,
then you had
hold on. One other thing about Jordan Davis, that a play that we're not even talking about, which is why he should be the player of the game, right? When he chased down Matthew Stafford on the sidelines, if you looked at that on the replay, I thought for sure Stafford was going to get a first down. Like, and
yep,
I had
yep,
no idea. Like, not only did Jordan Davis catch him, but he like bear hugged him and threw him behind him out of bounds. So like, even if Stafford would have reached for the first down, he wasn't coming close. And it looked
that's
like as soon
right.
as he started running, it looked like for sure he was getting that first down. Jordan Davis with that speed, man, that big man speed.
Yeah, no, I think it's safe to say Jordan Davis player of the game by a
Yep,
wide margin. I think Jalen would be next, but I think it's Jordan Davis. And how about
100%.
the big man moving that fast on that um, field goal return?
Dude, I mean, I'm glad he's on our team because that's like a freak of nature type thing. That's what that is.
Yeah,
That's a freak of nature type player. Um, and I'm glad that he's in the best shape of his life, man. Good for him. Good for him. He's in that I bet on myself this year type of mentality, and I hope it pays off for him. And it's smartly done by the Eagles to pick up that fifth year option, so it's cheaper for them. So now they can work on that extension, and it won't cost them as much as it probably would have.
no, but I mean, I think it's costing them more than what, it's a good problem to have, but he certainly,
Oh yeah.
through 3 games so far, has played himself into that rotation of guys that how he needs to think about paying cut down the road.
I mean, he's playing better than Jalen Carter is right now.
He is.
I know. Vic said Jalen Carter's not in game shape, all that stuff, but like he missed one game, so and like he was ready to play in that
He
game.
should
So
have
like
been, yeah.
like if he's not in game shape, what the hell did you guys do in the whole off season to get him into game
Right.
shape? You know what I mean? But you
Is
know,
that Vic kinda turning the corner on Jalen Carter a little bit where he's like,
maybe
I like this guy."
maybe he's doing what he did with Dory Jackson. Like, oh, you got to prove that he can be here. Maybe he's giving
Yeah,
him a little tough love type thing. And honestly, if anybody needs that, it's probably Jalen Carter. You
yeah,
know, he's been the best player on the field since he's probably like 5. So like maybe you need some tough love to say, look, get your stuff together
yeah.
before we.
Hey, maybe Jordan
So
needs to be like, "Yo, dude, I'm the best
yeah,
player on the team right now."
friendly competition, man. It can't hurt.
All good. Alright, so let's get into this game. Um, I hate playing Tampa in September. It's just never a good place for the Eagles. I mean, and this goes back to Donovan McNabb days, when remember the game that, the first game where Donovan threw up and then they came back and then Matt Bryant, I think it was,
Last second
hit
field goal.
the
Yeah,
62 yarder or 61 yarder.
that was the
Um,
NFL record at the time. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be 100 degrees. You said there could be thunderstorms, which means possibly weather delays. What do you make of this team?
So Tampa is look. I give Raheem Mostert credit. I think he's a solid coach, but this team lives and dies by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is not only the captain of that team, but they personify his personality, right? So like the swagger that he walks in with, I haven't seen him with this much swagger since his Oklahoma days, right? Since
Agreed.
his college days. And look, dude was a beast. He was an animal in college. So like he's playing like that again, man. And like the only thing that gives us a little bit of solace is the fact that Mike Evans is out, but we could see Chris Godwin back. So that's still up in the air this week.
I heard it's
Um,
trending toward he's going to play.
yeah, yeah, but he's coming back. Like, who knows if he's going to be as effective or if he's going to be out there as a decoy and Ibuka's going to try. But like, I don't feel as concerned this year as I have in the past because we have AJ, we have Devontae, you know what I mean, and we have Saquon. So like, we have a healthy offensive like star
Right.
power to compete, and their defense doesn't scare me as much as it has in previous years. But to your point, man, going down there, is it something mentally that this team just can't get over? We'll see. I mean, Jalen lost his first playoff game down there. Like it's just there's just something about it that
And they're
Jalen's
never
gonna have to
really
get that.
that close, at least with Sirianni. It's not even like they're close games either.
No, no. So I look for that to change, and we'll see what happens. I look, I just something about that stadium. It's just something, I don't know. It's something in their heads, man. It's almost like how the Phillies can't win in New York right now.
Right.
You
Stupid
know?
pirate ship.
Yeah, it probably is, man. It probably is the damn pirate ship.
No, but I do think though their offensive line is banged up too. And
Hmm.
I mean, you've seen enough games now where Houston isn't that good of a team, and they took them. Who's the other team they played that was
The
close?
Jets.
That's right, the Jets last week. Uh,
Yep.
They're terrible. Like, so I don't know. I think you're right. I think in the grand scheme, this would be like I said earlier, this is the time to be playing them,
Hmm.
especially with as banged up as they are. And if it's going to be that hot, Godwin's it has to be on some kind of a pitch count, I would think.
Yeah. Well, and then if you looked at the other thing, they just signed that 400-pound defensive lineman that they wouldn't let practice all training camp
Right.
because he was too heavy, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, they re-signed him to stop the tush push." It's gonna be 100 degrees. Do we really think
Dude,
he's gonna be out there? Like, if he's gonna go out there, that's gonna be the only play that he goes out there for.
right.
And look, I'm not knocking the guy, but like, we've all been overweight. Like, 100 degrees, like you're not talking about walking from your house to your car with groceries. You're talking about going up against Jordan Mailata, Landon
Yeah.
Dickerson, Cam Jurgens. Like, I don't care. Like, if dude, so all that talk needs to go out the window too, because that guy ain't gonna be the difference maker in the game. Believe me, he's not
No,
gonna be the difference
no
maker.
chance. No chance. All right. So just to make sure I got everything I want to talk about. Yeah, the weather was the big thing. And um I am overweight and I hate 100-degree weather. So, and I mean, I hate 80-degree weather sometimes. So it's all good, especially
Dude,
with the
I'm right
humidity.
there with you.
Not the
Yep,
heat, it's the
right.
humidity.
It's the humidity. Yeah, I can deal with a dry heat, right? Dry heat. Isn't that what Greg always used to say about Arizona when
Yeah.
he was out there? Oh, it's a dry heat.
I,
110
I've,
degrees, but it's
I've,
a dry heat.
I've been to Arizona. Dry heat my ass.
Yeah, it's
103
hot.
degrees is 103 degrees.
You're right. It's hot.
So what do the Eagles need to do to win this game this week?
So, keys of the game for me, I think number one for me, I think the run defense. I think they need to stop Bucky Irving. Because Bucky Irving will get his, but the run defense over the last couple of weeks has not looked good. It hasn't looked good at all, and you can chalk some of that up to Jalen Carter not playing in Week 1, right? So like you're just getting him used to things, and look, it's not like the Chiefs ran all over them, but like the Rams did. The Rams, Kyron Williams ran more than what they normally do for that offense. So I think the run defense needs to step up. Um, so that's the first thing. I think the secondary needs to hold their own. Ibuka looks like he's the real deal as a rookie wide receiver, man. He really does. He looks like he's a real deal. So I know Mike Evans is not going to be out there, and thank God he's not, because you guys remember how Larry Fitzgerald used to always torch us, no matter when we played
Yep.
him, no matter how bad the Cardinals were. Larry Fitzgerald just torched us. Mike Evans does the same thing. Mike Evans always
He
goes
will
for
kill us.
100 and at least one touchdown, always. So like if Mike Evans was playing this week, my lock gambling pick of the week would be Mike Evans, 100 yards and a touchdown, guaranteed. Lock
Easy.
it up. It happens every time. But I think that if the secondary can kind of float around and scheme some things up, I think I like our chances to kind of get some pressure on Mayfield because of that offensive line being banged up. And then honestly, the third key to the game is Jalen and AJ's connection. Build off the momentum of last week and keep that ship going, man. No pun intended with the pirate ship, but keep it going, because we know what happens if you feed AJ the ball early. Dude's an animal. You feed him the ball, good things happen. So I think if they can get that in before the weather hits down there, and then just keep pounding the ball with Saquon, let the offensive line do their thing. I think those are the keys of the game for me. What are yours?
Not once again, not too far off. I think I have keep the momentum going on offense. Pick up right where you left off. Don't go back to whatever it was the first 2.5 games. Keep whatever that second half of that game was. Keep calling those types of plays, and then I think that's going to get Saquon going. when the weather and the heat and everything. But I think you have to do that. Um, on defense, I think you got to pressure Baker. I think, especially with that offensive line being banged up, I think that kind of, as good as Bucky Irving is, I think it's going to be tough to run behind a lot of those. I think almost their whole offensive line, if I remember, is at least on the injury report. I think
Yep.
some of them probably will end up playing, but you got to get that pressure. And but if you're gonna get the blitz or however that comes, secondary needs to play well. But I think you get pressure on Baker, especially if his shoulder, or arm, or knee, or whatever it is messed up. You have to make him uncomfortable and contain him though, because he will break outside and get
Mhm.
15 yards on you, then put his head down and get five more.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And then my final one, I think you got to stay focused, and as Nick Sirianni says, one game at a time. Don't think about the previous five or whatever it is they've lost under Nick Sirianni to Tampa in Tampa. I think you just got to focus on this. Don't focus on last week. Just focus on the task at hand, because I feel the Eagles are a superior team, and I'm going to use that word, not better. I think with the way they're made up right now with the injuries and everything, they are a superior team, but they can get got by this team if they don't stay focused and start letting the demons of those other
Yep.
failures start creeping in.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I did make a note on this, and I want to get your take on it. This team, this Eagles team, the current team that's constructed right now, you know what they remind me of? They remind me of that '08 Phillies team. Because if you remember watching that '08 Phillies team, they were never out of a game, ever.
Yeah.
You never felt like they didn't have a chance to win until there was no time left, no outs left, no strikes left, right? So this Eagles team reminds me of that, right? A couple years ago, they're down 19. Like when in 23, when the 49ers got up big, you were like, oh, this game's done. It's
Oh,
over,
it's
right?
over.
Um, when the Rams got up, like I still felt confident, not because there was a ton of time left, but because this team just it exudes that confidence, right? Like you just feel like they're in every game, and like they've shown that they win close games. They just it's the mark of a true champion where they just continue to stay relevant in games and they never die. And I think, like I said, I think that goes to Jalen and Saquon keeping everybody engaged on that sideline.
And it's funny you say that, because I'm sure at least one, if not both of them, are listening right now. But I said to John at halftime and Nicole, I said, I don't know why. I said at halftime, Eagles are going to win 28-26. And they're like, no way. You really think so? I'm like, I just got a feeling. And like, I always get vibes. Like, there's times where I'm like, there's no chance, even if they're winning. But there was just something about that game. And as the coins were leaving, I was like, you guys are going to miss a hell of a second half. They're like, eh. So, but you're right. And I like the 2008 Phillies comparison, because we used to rip that team. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. They don't have any pitching behind Hamels. It's just a matter of time before Lidge blows a save.
Hmm.
And you can make the same comparisons with this team. But yeah, I mean, but I think because of all of that they've gone through. So, I mean, if you to continue with the '08 Phillies thing, that team got their ass kicked in the playoffs in 2007. They remembered that. Jimmy Rollins was on some very underachieving teams in the mid 2000s with Larry
Yep.
Bowa. Got benched by Larry Bowa multiple times. Used to fight with him. And I think all of that gets them where they want to go. And I feel like everybody keeps talking about the comparisons to that 2023 Eagles collapse team. Oh, they were 3-0, then they were 4-0. Because that team went through this, I can't see this team going through something similar. I feel
Yep.
like they have enough people on the team that will stop it before it gets to that level again.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and like I said, they're I just feel like they're never out of a game, and it's great to hear and great to see, and you hear that coming from them too, right? Where
Mhm.
they always feel like they have a chance. And one thing I did want to bring up, and you and I talked about this, eerily similar in 2017, Week 3 against the Giants, Eagles win the game on a great special teams play. That happened to be a game-winning 61-yard field goal by Jake Elliott. Flash forward to this year, week 3, special teams, great play. Just saying, there was something ironic about that year too. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to say what happened towards the end, but
That,
just saying.
that anniversary of that kick was this week too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
Quick shout
was.
out to
And
this day in Philly sports history.
yes, yes, great podcast. Great podcast.
All right, so I guess who do you got for player of the game, and then we'll get into the fantasy picks.
So, player of the game this week, I'm going with the captain. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts keeps that momentum going strong. I think he has 2 passing touchdowns, and he obviously gets in the end zone with his legs. I think they make, especially if the weather starts going how they think it will. I think they're going to make or call more design runs for him, and I
Mhm.
think he's going to make a lot of plays with his legs this week.
Nice. I'm going Saquon. I think this is going to be the breakout game, partly because of necessity with the weather, but partly because I think the Eagles are going to get up at least double digits in this game, and then it's going to be able to open it up for them. Maybe they get up double digits because of him, but I think this is the game we actually see him break out, and everybody just kind of we're going to leave this game, and everybody's going to take a deep breath. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, look, he broke that long run against them last year, and for a touchdown. So I could see that happening again. And to your point, I could see this being not like the 200-yard game against the Rams a couple times last year, but I could see this being a buck 30, buck 40 with
Yeah,
Saquon. I could see him getting off and going and getting off quick too, right? So like right in that first quarter, just kind of setting the tone early with like 40 yards, 50 yards in the first quarter.
yeah, no, 100%. What else you got fantasy wise?
So I got Saquon for 75 and a touchdown, at least 75 and a touchdown. And then I got AJ 75 and a touchdown. I think he keeps it going. And I think this is going to start a similar streak to what he had a couple of years ago, where he had like 6 straight games with a touchdown. I think this is going to start that streak for AJ. I think every week
Take it.
you can pretty much bank it that AJ is going to get in the end zone.
Nice. I like it. Anything else?
The defense is going to force a couple turnovers, and I think they do it either before the rain or during the rain. But I think they're gonna force a couple turnovers because one thing this team does, they win the turnover battle, and when they win the turnover battle, their record under Sirianni, I think they're like 38-2 or something like
Oh,
that.
it's
When they win the
ridiculous.
turnover battle, it's insane. So they win the turnover battle, they win this game.
No, I agree. I'll start there. I think Cooper DeJean gets an interception. Um,
Love it,
I think I think Jalix Hunt gets at least a sack. I
love
feel
it.
like somebody's got to step up to take Nolan Smith's spot. He was the project or whatever they wanted to call him when they drafted him. Showed some glimpses last year, especially in the Super Bowl. I think he's like, all right, I get a chance to shine. I think he's going to step up to it. And then I think Jalen's going to keep it going. He's got at least 2 total touchdowns, whether they're rushing or passing. I think that's the way what he's going to end up doing, and then Saquon's just going to kind of ice the game for him.
Love it, love it. So what's your final score?
I got Eagles 27, Tampa 16.
Okay. All right. So I got the Eagles 27, Tampa 23. I think that there's a late touchdown that makes it more of a tight game than what the score or what the game actually is, but the score is going to show that it was tighter. But I think that's what it is. The Eagles get the ball back, Saquon ices it, game over. But yeah,
Love it.
27-23. I hope they score more than that, but I'll take 27-23. A win's a win, right?
Listen, score, as John Madden used to say, if you score more points than your opponent, you are good.
That's the object of the game, right? Remember that? It was like, what's the key to winning? Score more points than the other team. Got it. All right.
Thank you,
Love it.
John.
Yes.
You got anything else? Plugs,
No,
anything?
just again, shout out Philly Goat. Great gear, great guy. He liked my nickname of Jordan Davis running it in as a thick six. So I told him I need to get a T-shirt made with Jordan Davis running that back and title it Thick Six. So hopefully he makes that and we get a little bit of credit on that he heard it here first on the Brotherly Birds breakdown. Just saying. Just saying. And look, this is going to be my weekly pitch and I'm going to do this every week until we can get a collaboration. Kelsey brothers, hit us up, hit us up. You know you want to talk the birds, Jason. You got me fired up when you were picking the birds last week, talking about all that stuff, and on Monday night when you were talking about the birds win and Jordan Davis. We can do it too, brother. We want you on the pod. We want to collaborate with you. Let's go. Let's go. Brother versus brother.
I like it. I like it. Like beer bowl, but football
But
bowl.
better. Yeah,
Some
but
I
better,
don't know.
right?
Whatever. Um, it's getting late, man. It's getting late. Um, but find me every day, this day in Philly sports history, and all social media at Philly Jimbo. You're probably noticing I'm wearing not an Eagles hat, but it's a hat in Eagles color. Just want to say rest in peace, Dave Sherapan. If you guys know anything about sports gambling, he passed away this week. So condolences to his family. He was a great dude. Never met him in person, but just from talking to him online and everything, he was the kind of guy that always made you feel like you were his best friend and you've known each other forever. So I'm wearing my Bostonian versus the Book hat in honor of Dave Sherapan. Rest in peace. Lost a good one, even though he was a Pittsburgh guy. But
Happens. It happens. Also, shout out to Clashing Conferences podcast, the Clashing Conferences network. It's a network for the people, by the people, of the people. You can catch Jim and I there every now and then. I'm there every week, usually multiple times, depending on what's going on and who's doing what. So check us out if you're a fan of sports. Dallas and Giants fans, we don't need you. We got enough of those guys, and we don't like the ones that we have. So, we don't need any more.
I think it's a good way to take us out. All right, brother.
All
We
right,
will
brother.
be
Go
back next
Birds.
week as we get ready for the next game is Denver. It's like one
Denver
of
at
those
home.
just an odd game, but we'll get you ready for it.
I think that was the last time Denver came into the link was Dawkins' return.
I think so. It's been a while.
Interesting. 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 Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one.
Lots to talk about. But let's take care of business on Sunday first. Eagles go down. We both see them winning. Tune in next week. We'll recap the game, get you ready for the Broncos. But go Birds.
Go Birds. Let's go.
Peace. Can't find the mouse. There we go.